Ready?
Yeah.
Dinner in Hell Band!
Oh my God! When I say 3, give me the first word you think of that comes to mind when describing this awesome podcast, man. 1, 2, 3. Striking. Holy shit! Damn!
They are hot tonight.
We seem to be freaking like locked. Same page.
Yep.
BT Maiden forever.
Ready to let it rip tonight.
We're gonna get serial killer time.
Oh yeah, today is another serial killer episode. Now, welcome back for another exciting edition of the Dinner in Hell podcast, the show where two amateur historians talk about the atrocious underbelly of history. I am one of your co-hosts, Brad the Impaler, and with me, as always, the magnificent Ron Maiden.
Hello and thank you once again for allowing me to be a part of this program.
Well, you mentioned this was a serial killer episode. Now, who specifically are we talking about this time?
This serial killer is a monster of a serial killer.
Yes.
And we will also not only discuss a serial killer, but we will actually discuss one of the most desired execution methods ever on our program.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's how we'll cap this off, I think.
Yeah. See how I did that?
Mm-hmm. So this is a
podcast camp.
So we're going to be taking a look at the life of Mr. Andrei Chikatilo, a.k.a. the Butcher of Rostov, a.k.a. the Rostov Ripper, a.k.a. the Red Ripper. We're talking about a serial killer who operated in the Rostov Oblast of Russia in the Soviet Union between the years of 1978 and 1990. That is a long time.
Hell yeah, that's a pretty long streak there, Andre.
Yeah.
This guy was awful.
Yeah, all told, this motherfucker is responsible for the murders of at least 52 women and children.
You say 52. I have the actual breakdown of gender.
Yeah, his adult victims were all women, but his child victims would come from under any gender.
It was 21 males, 31 females.
Yeah, that's also, it's less common in child murderers, or it's less rare in child murders than it is in adult, but it's still different. I mean, typically the serial murderer will have a very specific type that they go after again and again, but his is less specific.
You gave us a few of his nicknames, his AKAs. Mm-hmm. I have an actual longer list.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw these.
These always trip me out. I didn't see any of them.
I feel like if you saw these, you would have concluded these. 'Cause they're pretty out there. So you said Red Ripper. Mm-hmm. You said Rostov Ripper. Mm-hmm. The Butcher of Rostov. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Forest Strip Killer. Okay.
I give it a 4.
The Mad Beast.
That one's pretty good, but it could be more descriptive. 5.2. The
Mistake of Nature.
9.
That's awesome, isn't it?
Yep.
God damn it. It was a victim of the mistake of nature struck again. Holy shit. The Mistake of Nature?
Really honest.
Killer X. No, that's his rap name.
Yeah.
It's like Killer X.
Yeah, you can check out his SoundCloud.
It's on Def Jam. The Shelter Belt Killer. That's the last one I got. But man, The Mistake of Nature. Come on. If you need an album title for your new, whatever kind of music you play, I'm sure it'll fit.
Yeah, probably
like, what?
Death metal is the most applicable.
Shit, it could be rap. You don't know that.
Could be.
Like mystical.
Mystical.
Nelly. Oh, did you hear the new Nelly? Mistake of Nature? What? I gotta hear that.
No way. It would have to be like...
No more Band-Aid, mother effer.
It'd have to be like Isham or like one of these new like mumble rappers that uses like they look like they're into like black metal and shit too.
I don't know.
Mistake of Nature.
I don't know new rap except for Kendrick, and I know those two DJs, Killer Mike and the other dude, the white dude.
LP.
I don't know. What are they called, though?
Run the Jewels?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, boy, are they fun.
So we just went through the list of his nicknames. You said that this guy was a serial killer that operated in Russia, but as a child, he was from like Lithuania or Ukraine?
Yeah, he was from the Ukraine, and that was Soviet Ukraine. Why don't we go back, Ron? Why don't we go back to 1936 to the village of Yablachny in a Ukraine in the grip of famine?
You smell that, Pa? It smells like death, son. Just keep your eyes on the road, Junior. Smells like cooked human, Pa. Excuse me, mister? Are you going to get in on this or not?
Yeah, but I don't know what the characters are. I have no clue.
Never mind. So
Ukraine.
So you're walking through the village.
Walking through Yablachny, and what this is a collective farm. It's under the Soviet system, and in part of a repression perpetrated by Stalin on the people of the Ukraine, combined with the unfortunate weather, they were starving. So, I mean, imagine starving people all over the place. It's probably pretty grim. I don't know why, and I'm sure I'm wrong. Some of our Ukrainian listeners should tweet pictures of beautiful Ukrainian landscapes to us, but in my mind, it's like not nice. I don't know why, but I imagine it's not.
Like a barn full of smuggled vodka.
Like, you know, like the...
mob style?
Or like the... I don't know why. Probably just because it's in the context of like this story right now. But when I'm imagining, I'm gonna imagine like the old like grainy movies. Like it just looks like that, but all the time, like in real life.
If you see Borat when he was in Kazakhstan in the beginning, like, this is my mother. She's 42.
Except if everybody was starving.
Yeah. I imagine it's all black and white.
Yeah, in the real world.
There's no leaves.
No.
The trees don't have leaves. It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer world.
That's what I guess what I'm trying to say is little Andrei, when he was born on October 16th, 1936, he was born into a grainy black and white like shit life, like, for sure.
It was bombed out by like Germans, right? Probably.
Yeah, during we're talking about 1936, where the Soviet Union was invaded in 1940, I think. Yeah, when he was like 4 or 5 was when he got to see the Nazi occupation firsthand.
Yeah.
His parents were subsistence farming, basically. They had to grow some food for the entire Soviet Union, and they grew food for themselves as well, was their jobs. And it wasn't... I mean, they were starving. It was famine, so obviously his shit wasn't going well.
They're picking potatoes out of the ground like way too early. Like, don't rush it. Like, I can't fucking take it.
Yeah, I mean, he later recalled having to eat grass to try and stave off, dying.
Bark. Yeah. Well, he liked to call it tree jerky.
Yeah, tree jerky.
But it was actually, in all actuality, it was in fact tree bark.
Yeah.
Maple. It was a pine tree bark.
At least that probably had, like a little bit of a sweet flavor.
He sold it. They were so hungry that his parents used to tell him a tale. Yes,
his parents claimed that he had an older brother. They had a previous son, and his name was Stepan Chikatilo, and at the age of 4, he was kidnapped and cannibalized by desperate, starving neighbors.
So you said keyword, they claimed.
Yes, they claimed this to him. There's never been found any corroborating evidence for that claim.
There's, whether or not a brother ever existed.
Yeah, it's not known if Stepan has ever been shown to be real.
You're learning the real story here, folks. That's why you're here. And that's why you're going to come back.
At the start of World War II, his father was drafted into the Red Army, in which he was wounded and later captured. Now, Andrei himself, like we said, he was in Ukraine and he was in the Nazi-occupied territory.
Roman Chikatilo was placed in a Russian prison camp for having surrendered in combat, and Andrei forced to publicly denounce his father as a coward. I found that. Did you see that?
Yeah, the Soviet troops were not allowed to surrender. That was against the rules.
I mean, lucky just wasn't shot right there. Like, if you're running back from the front, where the war is, you get shot from your own side.
Yeah, and it's even worse for him because, he didn't run away. He was wounded, and then they captured him. It's not like he surrendered. He was wounded.
Please don't, yeah.
Yeah,
he
just happened to survive, basically. Now, during the grueling occupation, Andrei was relegated to sharing a bed with his mother, which probably really sucked because, everybody knows that I think it's the McDonald triad that serial killers have, the bedwetting, the cruelty to animals, and the arson.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he has at least one, and it sucked for his mother because he was a chronic bedwetter.
He's sharing a bed with Ma.
And he's just pissing it every night. And every single time he would do it, he would take a nasty beating and just get abused like crazy by his mother.
It was discovered later in life that he had been born with a brain damage that affected his ability to control seminal, and bladder emissions. This guy had an actual brain defect that he couldn't help from pissing every night. He's getting his ass beat for it. That's where the serial killer clique starts.
Yeah, I happen to think it's sort of like a two-part system. Yeah, you have to be born with the predisposition to it. There is something that you're born with that allows that to happen, and then you also have to get abused and have the humanity taken out of you.
Ingredients.
Yeah. It's it's a mix of those two.
Someone
usually, I think.
Someone like LeBron James, if let's say he pissed the bed every night and was beaten for it, he could still possibly grow up to be a role model figure like he is today. But because he doesn't have the serial killer element. Mm-hmm.
I saw a statistic. Some estimates that are as high as 21% of all CEOs are psychopaths.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably a lot of them don't murder people for fun.
Yeah.
There's a high proportion of psychopaths amongst surgeons too.
Yeah.
It's sometimes they take their brain thing and they're not evil. They just don't have the same kind of emotional construct.
Also, from our own show, Dinner in Hell, our past episodes, the master pricker who was in charge of poking the eyeball to get the victim to eat the food.
Episode 1.
9 out of 10 of those are psychopaths as well.
Yeah, one's just trying to put in an honest day's work.
So it's crazy how it's full circle ties in with our show.
Perfect.
By the way, that's Escapism episode, Milk and Honey, episode 1, remastered.
Numero uno.
Finally cracked 100 So congratulations, episode 1. Good job, episode 1.
Well done. Thank you.
Yeah. So your next target, everybody. Get moving on Brazen Bull, you guys. Episode 2. Solid frickin' episode. Brad.
Yeah, there's some baby eating in there.
There's
all
baby
kinds of fucked
eating.
up shit.
And how about the fact the guy that invents the device is the first person to be killed by it, and then the asshole that killed the guy in it was then killed in it too.
Yeah, it's a whole
Or tortured in
human
it.
centipede of terrible dying.
Episode 2, Dinner in Hell, Brazen Bull. Scroll all the way down, rate and review. You're gonna love it. It's short.
Yeah,
You'll love
it's a good one.
It's early in our career.
Well, it's a good lunchtime. Listen.
The band was just starting to get tight.
All right, let's get back to Mr. Chikatilo. We're in a single bed that he's sharing with his mother in a one-room hut. This is their life under Nazi occupation, and as a consequence of these sleeping arrangements, he was witness to the rape of his mother by a Nazi soldier.
That's right. And didn't she ended up pregnant, and it couldn't have been his dad because his dad was already in the sent off to war at the time.
Yes.
So it had to have been from the freaking German soldier.
Yeah, as a consequence of that rape, in 1943, his mother gave birth to his younger sister, Tatiana. Now, probably due to malnutrition, as a youngster, Andrei was small, he was very weak and sickly, and he was regularly a target for his schoolmate bullies. Now, that's the fucking worst, because, like, at home, you're getting abused, and then you go to school, and you just get abused some more. There's just, like, never any escape.
I can't remember. Does he ever go after animals? Does he cruel to animals?
I don't think so.
I don't remember reading that.
Yeah, I don't think I encountered
Okay. And does he ever burn and shit down?
Nope. That's why the McDonald tree ad is kind of nonsense, but it's still fun.
It's like that saying, not every bedwetter is a serial killer, but every serial killer is a bedwetter. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Yeah. Sometimes the triad's there, sometimes it's not. It's just not true that it predicts anything. It's just fun.
Because I thought like sexual abuse would be one too.
Yeah, I'm sure that
There should be like instead of triad, there should be like a quadrant.
It certainly does seem to deeply
Cube.
damage people.
Yeah.
He did get along with his teachers, though. He was described as kind of a teacher's pet. They all liked him, and he was pretty bright, got really good grades, shit like that. And he continued to do well academically as he grew up, but socially he was still extremely shy. He was very uncomfortable around girls, and he never really made any friends. I mean, that description could basically also be applied to, like, Jeffrey Dahmer, sort of. You know?
God damn, you think about high school, there's probably a kid that you can think of that was like a loner, didn't have anybody really on his side, freaking walked alone from school home, like, bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Like Napoleon Dynamite almost, except sadder.
Yeah, exactly.
And real.
Yeah, it's not in an alternate world where everyone else is also weird. That it's just like a Napoleon Dynamite, but like he's doing all that shit unironically. Everybody knows that dude. Or you are that dude. Or I was that dude.
If you are that dude, hey, you're here. You made it. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Another complication of his that was sort of like the bedwetting was his chronic impotence. That may have also fueled some of his awkwardness around his female peers. Could not maintain an erection, this guy. Shame.
Thank you. I was going to ask you what that word was. I had a hunch.
Now, when he was 17, he sort of stumbled into a cure for his impotence and his particular fucking degenerate sick brain. And
he's 17.
He's 17 years old.
He was about a
and-
5'10" adult man at the end.
Yeah, so he's probably that tall by 17. He wrestled the 11-year-old little sister of a friend of his to the ground and was pinning her, like joking around. But as he was doing it and she was struggling against his grip, he ejaculated. So that probably gave him all kinds of interesting and terrible ideas.
He's 17. He's overpowering this young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And the struggle is what does it for him.
Yep.
And probably that she's young.
That may
'Cause-
also play into it.
Since he later went on to kill, children. He was a
Mhm.
child killer. He was mainly known as a child killer. He was a killer.
Yeah, I
But he was
think
like a definite child killer.
the only reason really that he was going after the kids was because they were easy targets.
Yeah, and candy's cheaper than alcohol. He's
Yeah.
like, fire some Bubblicious. Follow me.
Yeah, it's like,
It's like,
for him, because he didn't have a type, it seems like it was way more about what he was doing than who he was doing it to.
So fucking sick.
Yeah.
Hey, I got
Dude,
some big
fucked
league
up.
chew. Everybody follow me into the woods. Because when he kills adults, he would lure them with alcohol. He's like, I got
Yeah.
some Mohawk. Come with me, Mohawk it up.
Or Kamchatka, probably.
We're freaking partying.
It would have been just like vodka, no brand, because it
who-
was the Soviet
Who
Union.
wants peach schnapps? That's his accent, too. That's deep Russian accent.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The dialect coach I've been working with. is like-
Nozdrovia.
yeah, kind of like that. Kind of Greensboro, Russia.
Da.
Greensboro, Russia.
Da, comrade.
Greensboro. Shucks. Woo! Dinner in hell. We're learning, we're living, we're loving. And another L word, Brad. What else are we doing that starts with L?
Well, just say what you want to say.
I
I'll
don't
cut
know.
it back in.
I'm putting you on the spot. I don't know. We are.
I was
not-
like, I have no idea.
I know.
where
I
you're
took
going
them all.
with this.
I took them all. I took all the obvious L words. We are living, learning, loving, and we are also. What does it starts with L, Brad? We are.
Live.
That's right. Down here at the mall, Fairlane Mall, Dearborn, Michigan. How's everyone doing today? Hi there. We're gonna have the old Halloween shoppers here.
Okay. Yeah, so Andrei was pretty good academically. He was the best in his collective farm. However, that may have been like a big fish, small pond type scenario because he did wind up being the only person from the collective to receive his high school diploma.
Nerd. He's a freaking nerd. Remember how the only people that liked him was his teachers?
Yeah, he's in.
Mom hated his ass because why? His mom had a passion for hating on nerds.
Yeah,
She hated nerds.
Yeah, she's like an ogre or whatever.
If you go deep into the dark web and you really dig deep and research his mother, she despised nerds. Then you get his schoolmates. When he goes off to school, you think that might be his escape from home? No, the kids are all freaking mean. Well, why?
Nerd.
Because they hate nerds. But who loves nerds, BT?
I do.
And what other title, service to their country? Teachers! God damn it.
Oh,
Teachers
yeah,
love
teachers
nerds.
love nerds.
Because they want them to get good grades.
Mm-hmm. Now, maybe it's actually, I think they have coming out next year, Revenge of the Nerds, the Andrei Chikatilo story. The series Revenge of the Nerds is taking a really dark turn, sort of like a True Detective type vibe. I heard they're going for.
Yep. It's going to be Revenge of the Nerds with child murder.
Mm-hmm.
With like a splash of child murder.
Yeah, they're just testing the waters to see how.
Yeah. Nerd with the diploma.
Yeah, so he applied for Moscow State University, which was the most prestigious university in the Soviet Union, but he ultimately didn't do well enough on the entrance exam to get in. So he was smart for Yablachny, but he wasn't really that smart. He wasn't getting into the best university. But what's odd is he didn't even apply anywhere else. After he didn't, like, basically it would be like, I'm going to Harvard or I'm going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he did, and he didn't get into Harvard, so he didn't go to college. He moved to Kursk, working for a few months before enrolling in vocational school to become a communications technician.
When you say and think of communication technician, what do you think?
Like a guy who repairs radios.
In the notes, the research that I found, it just said telephone engineer. Like, guy probably goes up on the wire, get your phone line going,
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Hi, man, I'm just here to check out your phone line.
Or I don't know, what were phones like in then? Maybe it was like when they still had like the phone banks and shit. Maybe he had to like assemble all those electronics or some shit.
From 57 to 1960.
Yeah. Maybe it was like...
I think they were still doing like alphabet letters with the numbers, like TR5 7500. Like, you know what I mean? It would have like 2 alphabet letters.
Yeah. So it was probably tough.
Yeah.
Now, it was also here in Kursk that he had his first relationship with a woman, a local girl, 2 years his junior. Now, it did last for 18 months, but after 3 unsuccessful attempts at intercourse over 18 months, she finally decided to break it off.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 tries in 18 months. He couldn't do it, and that was the final straw, I guess.
Man.
That's a shame.
I know. I feel bad, poor guy. Plus his mom beat his ass for pissing in bed. And he had a brain defect that couldn't help it anyways.
Yeah, he's got a...
even normal bedwetters can't help it. The whole thing with bedwetting is your brain isn't signaled to wake up that you have to pee. You sleep through that signal.
Yeah,
it's not your fault.
How much shit do you have control of while you're sleeping? None.
Right.
How are you supposed to blame people for that?
Yeah. Shout out to bedwetters out there as children and adults. Fuck it. Sometimes people drink, wake up, wet the bed. Happens.
Yeah. I've heard stories about people just like getting up in the middle of the night and like opening the closet door and just peeing into the closet when they have had too much to drink.
Yeah. It's a laundry hamper. They think it's a toilet.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a laundry hamper.
So, just like his old man, he was eventually also drafted into the Red Army, where he did his job. He was a communications technician throughout his tenure from 1957 to 1960 at a KGB communications post in Berlin.
That sounds badass though. Like he's like in this room full of dudes with like headphones on. It's like
yeah,
cracking codes and shit.
Yeah,
like we just captured transmission. It's going to save about 400 Russian lives, soldier lives.
Mm-hmm.
Listen here.
Yeah, probably stuff like that.
News is in from Berlin. They're going to strike.
Mm-hmm. What the imperialists are up to.
That's my KGB sergeant.
It's a dead-on impression.
Thanks.
Perfect accent.
Thanks.
I
just
no
picture,
notes. I have no notes.
If you picture like a stern Russian sergeant with like the furry hat with the star on it, like classic Russian.
Big
That's what I'm trying to. That's the voice I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Da.
So 1961. He's out of the army, and he finds work in a town north of Rostov-on-Don, shortly followed by his sister Tatiana coming as well. Now, she would later note nothing out of the ordinary about his lifestyle during this period, aside from his chronic shyness around women. That doesn't go away. She lived with him for about 6 months before she wound up getting married.
She's like, I gotta move in with you, please. If I marry you, can I please move in with you? Because my brother's freaking...
Well, she says no. He was absolutely normal.
To his face.
That he just doesn't fuck, ever.
To his face. She probably knows what's up. probably talks in his sleep, you know. I'm fucking kill you, little kid. Kill a little kid in his sleep. And she's like, what the fuck?
But he actually hadn't really assaulted anyone at that point yet. Now, and a real left turn.
What about the one when he creamed after like holding that one girl down?
Yeah, but he was just joking around. It was like for fun.
I thought he did it like to be malicious.
No, they were just like playing or whatever. All the friends were out, and he was like, "Oh fuck! Like what's going on?"
So his brain is just wired like haywire.
Yeah,
it's doesn't have a normal brain. You might have as a listener, you may have like the most normal brain. I mean, even though you listen to our show, you gotta be a little bit sick. But
yeah, don't let this.
This guy's brain isn't like yours.
Yeah, but don't think we're trying to absolve him. This guy's like a total piece of shit. He's like a living nightmare. His childhood's just really fucked up. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, he could have been a totally haywired brained person, but raised with like love.
Yeah, and he probably would have just like
getting
be in therapy and shit. Yeah,
like having a job and shit, and like
not even
communications.
That.
Hey, what do you know,
dude? He's like got a technical skill. He's got like a good ass job.
Yeah, he might be on a phone wire, freaking
for AT&T. If he wasn't constantly abused while he was a little kid, he might be relatively normal.
Freaking Miss Chikatilo. Bitch.
Yeah, and what you might
fucked up a lot of people's lives, Chikatilo, madam.
Yeah. And what you might not expect is at the age of 27, this dude gets married. He found somebody to marry him. And
she's like, I like guys that cannot get an erection.
Well,
yes, I do. I marry you. I hate sex.
What it was a bizarre, like, arranged marriage that was mostly set up by Andrei's sister Tatiana and her husband.
Yeah, their bowling friend that they go bowling with.
Yeah, they're like, you two should just get married.
Just marry him.
Yeah, her name was Feodosia.
She's like, I could never have sex with that guy. And she's like, listen, here's the good news.
You're not
going to have to.
Yeah.
Don't even fucking worry about it. Like, it's not even in the part of the discussion. You're going to love it. Plus, he's funny.
Yeah, after knowing them for 2 weeks.
Dude loves to wrestle. He's down to wrestle. Wrestle, even.
Yeah, just like a no strings attached wrestling session.
Honeymoon Wrestle Fest.
But like in my head right now, I'm just imagining her getting put into like a figure 4 leg lock.
And he's like, oh no, I'm sorry. I love you. So, moving on.
So they were married after knowing each other for 2 weeks, and again, another thing you might not expect from all the talk so far, they were able to conceive a daughter and a son.
Just by like, hope?
No. Now, he would externally
describe this like you would to like a child listener.
Hey,
we don't expect children to listen to our show, but some do.
Okay, so what this arrangement was is he would manually stimulate himself to orgasm,
to finale,
and then he would take the semen
or the product,
and he would digitally insert it into Feodosia's vagina, at which point she would then become pregnant. Cloaca? You want to do cloaca?
You want to say cloaca?
No.
God damn it. I'm going to look it up, and we're going to find the true spelling of it. We're going to squash this right now. We're going to nip it in the bud. Everybody, when you're thinking of the opening on a reptile.
Cloaca. Cloaca. Cloaca.
Oh, you're like all Latin on me? I just say cloaca. I just like coal, O-A-L, C-O-A-L, coal. Isn't that how you spell coal? Like, yeah. I just pronounce the O-A like that, cloaca. So, my bad. I'm going to say you're right. So, he sticks his Let's say he's got like
digitally.
A finger.
He does it digitally, yeah.
Like he smeared his finger on like a frosted donut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a glazed donut.
Yeah, and then boom, just pops it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were able to have 2 children this way.
Oh boy. This is our steamiest episode so far. People are going to be like, wow, we're going to get a lot of new listeners because of this.
Yeah, I'm sure my description was really, really hot.
They're going to be like, oh my God, fucking love that episode. The digitally fucking donut. Every time I eat a donut now, I think of dinner in hell.
Yeah, so eventually he got a degree and started teaching. And that's when his career took off. I mean, as far as serial killer goes, he got a really late start. In 1973, he swam over to a 15-year-old student in the pool and just started groping her. Now, this was not alone. Several other assaults that were basically all the same occurred right kind of then.
Guess who else did that in our show's history? Frickin' Roman Emperor Caligula.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Son of a bitch was tickling and frickin' titching and
Britannicus.
slap happy in the frickin' pool. The kids. God.
The minnows. Yeah, I remember now.
Kind of freaking lets you know what kind of person Caligula was. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He's in league with Chikatilo.
Yeah. Now, he was even observed by other teachers fondling himself in front of the students.
As a teacher?
Yeah. All that happens to him, though, is that he just gets forced to resign.
God.
Now,
man, it's pretty stiff laws over there.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
You can't teach no more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess if you're a Russian literature teacher or a Catholic priest, they'll just bounce you to the next neighborhood, because he continued to get work at a teacher all throughout. I mean, all the way definitely up until his first murder in 1978 at the age of 42, which is a lot older than most serial killers get going.
42 is still a young man's age.
Yeah, but most serial killers start killing when they're in their 20s. Well, so he secretly bought an old home in town, and he lured there 9-year-old Yelena Zatkanova. The old chronic impotence thankfully hampered him from his true intentions, but that did not stop her from stabbing her to death and dumping her body in the river.
So he threw her body in the river?
Yeah, after he had murdered her, he just dumped her body in the river. And there was lots of evidence against him, too. And several eyewitnesses provided descriptions that resembled him a lot. After her body was found, 2 days later, a local previously convicted rapist was convicted of the crime, not Chikatilo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they found blood on this dude's wife's apron that matched Yelena's blood type. But the dude's wife also had the same blood type as Yelena, so that's a way more plausible explanation for whose blood that is. But yeah, he got convicted and executed of that crime, not Chikatilo.
And it wasn't even him? God
It was not him.
Oh, hey, another life taken from Ma Chikatilo.
Yeah. Now, he would later claim that at this point in time, he was trying to suppress these horrible urges, but after this murder, he admitted that he realized that the only way he could climax is if he was stabbing somebody.
Frickin', I went through that phase for a while. I went through the stabbing phase for a while.
That's a new one. I've never heard that called a phase.
There's so many ways you could go with that. Frickin' stabbing wombs. Shit. That's the kind of show you're listening to, people. We're raunchy as hell.
Yeah, there's lots of stabbing. Now, his next victim...
We're talking history here.
Yeah.
This is a history program.
History, and the most interesting shit is always just terrible.
Can I just suggest something?
Mm-hmm.
The first victim that he lured into the woods, his impotent ass, remind you, just stabbed her and threw her in the water and shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if his ass wasn't impotent, she would have been forcefully taken.
Yes, that was his intention.
And so he was like, instead of killing myself, I'm going to kill this woman. He could have just ridded the earth of himself, but he lived on.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Although later on, it doesn't seem like he did to rape the kids. The women he would attempt to. Sometimes he couldn't, and then he would fly into a rage and stab them. But with the kids, it appeared to be pretty much all about the stabbing.
And just being easy to overpower.
Yeah. He just wanted to get some stabbing in. Yeah, I mean, his 17-year-old second victim, Larissa Kachenko, was lured to the woods with the promise of vodka, where he suffocated her with mud, and having no knife, went at her with his teeth and a sharpened stick.
A sharpened stick? I was trying to imagine what kind of stick this could be.
Like a branch. With
Yoda's cane. Banging on R2.
No, Yoda is good. You would never be involved in anything like this.
But his cane, you don't know. I'm thinking like a stump, that you'd use like for the fire. Jostle this wood around.
Poker?
Yeah, but it's like a log.
Probably some shit like that.
Teeth and a stick.
Mm-hmm. In 1982, he encountered 13-year-old Lubov Biruk walking on a path, and he matched his pace to hers until they were both obscured by bushes, and then he just grabbed her and snatched her into like the underbrush. When she was found to have been stabbed 22 times, and this is the point where you can lose any sympathy you may have had for him, because he doesn't even claim to be attempting to resist his homicidal urges after this point. Now, over the next 2 months, he would kill 5 more times. He developed the pattern mostly of approaching lone children, runaways, and vagrants at train stations or something like that, and that's where he'd lure them from.
Mass transit stations.
Mm-hmm. The adult women he'd kill were often prostitutes or homeless, and the children were just whoever was convenient. Now, in June 1983 is when the police had finally started to link the murders together. Now, they were aware of at least 4 that were committed by the same person at this point in time. Now, the reason that the Moscow police team that was sent to the region were able to make this determination is because he started to add to his pattern by removing the eyes from his victims. They could link the murders because the striations left by the knife on the bone were the same in all 4 cases.
Do you know why he removed the eyes?
Yes, he said that he believed an old wives' tale that the eyes would be imprinted with the face of their murderer.
And do you know why he stopped?
Because he just figured it was an old wives' tale.
Yeah, he found out it was true. That it was not true.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, really? Huh."
So then he started cutting open stomachs, chewing off noses, cutting out tongues, and ripping off privates.
Yeah, he got to be really, really brutal.
At one time, he bit off a nipple of a young female victim, swallowing it, and then it caused him to make a sex explosion in his pants, like how you say.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that was his second.
The nipple one?
Yeah, his second victim. That was Larissa Kachenko.
That was early in his run.
That was when he was going at it with his teeth and the stick.
Swallowed a nipple once in my life. I gotta be honest with you. Nowhere did I have the notion to be aroused at any point further. It was like, how do I get this nipple out of me? I was trying to throw it back up. It was a total accident.
I imagine it's a real choking hazard.
It was I was on a dune buggy at the time. Going Baja.
Back in the gas wars?
We were Baja out in.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a 4-wheeling. So it was a total accident, and I swallowed it. But I didn't know nowhere was I near completion. I was just trying to survive.
Yeah, you got to put it in some milk so like the doctor can put it back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're describing how brutal he was. The murders were so brutal that one of the leading theories about the motive for the murders is that it may have been a group that was attempting badly to harvest organs for sale on the black market.
Also, the government didn't want frickin' reports of serial murder and rape. They would kind of cover it up.
No, that's bad for propaganda.
And they would say some of the victims were killed and mutilated by a werewolf. Like, oh, no.
Yeah,
calm down.
Don't worry.
Like, that's no serial. No, this was a fucking werewolf, you guys. Chill.
Yeah, don't worry. It was a werewolf.
And guess what? I got all these silver bullets for sale, 25 cents.
I'd be more worried about a werewolf than a serial killer.
Depends on what stage the moon is. Like, freaking board them up. It's full moon, man. Got board those windows up.
Yeah, but you don't even need special ammo to take down a serial killer.
Right,
Any ammunition will do the job.
Right. Can a werewolf climb a tree? Because we discussed the movie The Grey.
I
with
think
Liam
so.
Neeson.
Yeah, werewolf. Because they're still humanoid. Well, it probably depends on what type of werewolf we're talking about.
Do they have a thumb? Because the raccoons can climb a tree without a thumb.
Yeah, werewolf stands on 2 feet. I say they have hands. I say they can climb trees.
Like a lichen?
Yeah, if a werewolf walks on 2 feet, it can climb. If it walks on 4, it cannot.
Okay, so his forelimbs contain an opposable thumb.
Yeah. Feel free to cite this episode on Wikipedia and edit the werewolf page to make that a rule.
So, yeah. Don't worry, there's no freaking serial raping, murdering going on around here.
Just werewolves.
It's all under control. Just stay indoors on a full moon. You're good.
Yeah, the method of investigating for the police were just really, really long, really, really intense, sort of violent interrogations of any known pedophiles or sex offenders.
Yeah, like they'll go knock on the door like, hey, remember you were busted for freaking... that shit went down in the van. And then they lay out all these details and probably show them photographs like, why did you do this to this kid? Mm-hmm. And after a few of those interrogations, some commit suicide.
Yeah. How fucked up is that, man?
That's how hideous these details were, just to be told that a known, like, child predator person, like you're saying, couldn't stomach it. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's some intense questioning when it inspires 4 suicides after they'd endured it. And we already talked about how brutal he was, but it just kept getting worse and worse over time. In December of 1983, Sergei Markov was lured away from a train, emasculated, and received more than 70 stab wounds before being completely eviscerated.
Does that mean, like, cut off everything, emasculated?
Yeah.
Bastard. Sergei was just freaking minding his own business. He's probably had a shitty train ride. He's probably had motion sickness.
Yeah, just like wanted a Mars bar.
That's it. He's looking for a vending machine. What?
You got some out there in the forest?
Come out in the woods, man. I got fucking whatchamacall. It's all kinds of shit. Mom. Stabbed him 70 times.
70 times.
Why did the serial killer stab the victim 70 times?
Why?
Well, his arm got tired. So I gotta stop sometime. Boom, pss. Holy shit. That's a Dinner and Hell original. That's a little influenced by Neil Hamburger. Yeah. That's a Dinner and Hell original. Neil, if you're listening, or if you know Neil, pass him this episode. Yeah. Let him hear this.
And something else interesting happens around this period in time, which does not ultimately stop this string of murders. But in 1984, Chikatilo gets arrested for these crimes. The problem is a mistake in the very young, process of testing blood type from semen that was found on one of his victims, mistakenly identified Chikatilo's A blood type as AB, thus effectively eliminating him as a suspect. They were like, "Oh, I'm fuck."
That was close.
Yeah, we almost thought it was him, but you're free to go. And he's just like,
Yep, bye.
"Yeah, I'm a monster. I'm gonna walk out the door now."
Dude's buying tickets to Mexico. He's like, Tijuana for life.
Or like, where, I don't know, where would the Mexico of the Soviet Union be? Like Turkey?
Freaking Portugal, I don't know. Bulgaria. Are you ready for a Chikatilo quote?
Sure.
What I did was not for sexual pleasure. Rather, it brought me some peace of mind.
Now, let me ask you this. Why are you reading that quote in a United States Southern accent rather than his native Ukrainian?
We're flipping the script here in Dinner in Hell Studios. This is a mind F.
God damn.
We're talking serial killers from Russia.
Yeah, but I guess that's an insight into what these type of people's minds are like.
So, in September of 84, when he was arrested, he was soliciting a prostitute after he was, approaching numerous women. Mm-hmm. After they apprehended him and they got his briefcase and they searched it, it contained a kitchen knife, a towel, a rope, and a jar of petroleum jelly, Vaseline.
Yeah.
So he's probably dipping his fingers in Vaseline. Post-mortem. Awfulness.
Yeah, I suppose.
Ugh.
I mean, he was a real nightmare. Real piece of shit.
He's able to reach climax. And you can't do that without being erect, right?
As far as I know.
Like, I'm sure he could still, there's times when men wake up with a morning erection because he got to go to the bathroom or something. Like, I'm sure there's times where he has that. Like, this impotency has got to be a mental thing. Or his brain, because his brain's fucked up already.
Yeah, it's a mental thing. It's like the brain fuck up.
So, I bet when he's unconscious, I bet there's probably random bones that probably pop up.
Mm-hmm. But public pressure and intensity to catch the killer grew as many of his crimes began to link together throughout the mid to late 80s. They finally started to get a glimpse of what the actual scale of this is like. Sometimes he wouldn't attack anyone for like a year or more, but then he'd kill 6 in 2 months. It was real, just sprees of rage. Just like these huge, lashing out, nightmare hell tantrums.
Fucking been there. You're good for a few months, and then you have a month where you just fucking misanthropic. You just want to fucking don't make eye contact with me. I know the feeling, but I've never been driven to kill, and emasculate people and dump their bodies in rivers.
Yeah, that's never seemed like a good idea to me either.
Or live in Russia, for that matter.
So, on November 6th, 1990, Chikatilo would kill for the last time. Here, he lured 22-year-old Svetlana Karostik from a train station, but as he was doing it, he was witnessed by an undercover police officer that was looking for him. He was there specifically to look for people who were trying to lure people away from train stations. He saw him do it, too. And when he saw Chikatilo come back from the forest, he had a red smear on his cheek and soil stains all over his clothes. But, as often happens, he didn't have a reason, probable cause or whatever to arrest him. But after getting his, ID and all his info and shit, he had to let him go. But when Karostik's body was found 2 days later, he was investigated, and basically the way that they caught him is they went to where he worked, and they figured out exactly where he was working on his, communications shit when the murders occurred, and they were just like, what do you know? He's in fucking, like, every single one of these towns on the day these people went missing. So after that, they arrested him.
Clarice Starling would have freaking nailed that, like, right off the get.
I doubt he would have been able to make it to 52.
She would have had a map with thumbtacks all over it. Red thumbtacks here, blue thumbtacks here. Whoa. He was in freaking where? Roscoff? Shucks.
Yeah, she would have got him. I mean, I know she would have. At first he denied it, but after being interrogated for only 2 hours, and by a psychiatrist, not by, like, scary cops, he burst into tears and confessed to the 34 murders he was accused of. And later at his trial, he would admit to the full 52. Sometimes in the form of screaming at people and, like, having outbursts.
He would also do just bouts of, seems like he was just in complete boredom. Mm-hmm. And then he would go into the outburst too. God.
Yeah, like he was having fucking fun with it, basically, I think is what was going on.
So it comes time for us to put this serial killer down. Mm-hmm. And like we said at the opening of the show, of all the execution methods we've discussed, from impalement to burn to death to walking the plank and being dragged under the boat in the pirate episode.
Keel hauling,
yeah. Here we go. This is one of our top ones. This one's probably better than Persian crucifixion. Persian crucifixion was where they cut your head off, then they crucify you. Mm-hmm. You want a quick death on Dinner in Hell.
Okay.
So here we go.
Let's talk about the death of Andrei Chikatilo.
Yeah.
So he was denied all his appeals, and on February 14th, 1994, he was escorted from his cell to a small, soundproof room where he was executed with a single gunshot behind the right ear.
Nice.
That is an efficient, quick way out.
Now, yes, you are correct, but is it enough? Is this how you want Chikatilo? I mean, if you could pick one of our methods that we've covered on Dinner in Hell, which method would you like to see Chikatilo in the rack?
Well, see, I think the good thing about, like, a society is, like, a society shouldn't want revenge. Like, it shouldn't be angry. Like, it should be better than that, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's good. Like, I don't think they should have painful executions. Like, the point is that person just is too bad to be alive anymore, right? They're too dangerous. They just they simply can't be allowed.
Right.
There's no, like, reason to make them suffer. It's wrong. It should just be that.
Yeah, like lights out.
Yeah, like prison. Like, I don't think the conditions in prison should be terrible. I mean, most people get out of prison, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want somebody who just lived in a hellhole for 6 months moving next to you, where it was like kill or be killed?
Working with your kid?
Yeah, I don't fucking think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, the point of prison is to ostensibly rehabilitate people as well as separate them from society, right?
Right.
If you torture them, like Chikatilo got tortured, who do you think is getting spewed back out into the world?
Yeah, you're training this person to be a cold, like, sociopath.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
There's got to be a better way. I don't know it, though. I'm just kind of spouting off.
Chikatilo's final words were, before they smoked him with the pistol, "Don't blow my brains out. The Japanese want to buy them."
That's honestly kind of funny.
That's Chikatilo. Right to the end, he's like, "Never forget me."
I'm going to go out on a zinger, a good one-liner.
Listen, I'm not ready. Oh, yeah. I thought you were ready to go out.
Oh, no,
I was like,
he was.
I got another little tidbit. When he was in court, he had to fucking be in court. He had to sit in a metal cage. You see that?
Yeah.
That's real.
Oh,
You
yeah.
Google this guy Chikatilo. You'll love it.
There's plenty of pictures and videos.
Like we're talking 94, you guys. 1994. Were you alive then, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a year out of high school.
Yeah, I was 9.
So, yeah. What were you into at 9?
X-Men.
Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic.
94, I was
Doing a
probably
little
jamming.
Green Hills Zone.
I was playing basketball from like noon to like 8 p.m. every day. Summer of 94.
Ballin'.
Listening to Alice in Chains. Soundgarden, White Zombie. 1965.
Yeah.
Dude makes films now. My wife loves him. She's like her celebrity like hall pass like.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she'd totally be down with Robert Zombie, his birth name. There was a book based on this dude's story.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Child 44. It was based on Chikatilo's child murders. And they actually made a film in 2015 produced by Ridley Scott starring Gary Oldman and Tom Hardy. 2
How'd I miss
good
that?
actors, yeah. Child 44. Can you believe it?
I definitely got to see that.
I don't. I don't want to go anywhere near child murders. Any of our listeners out there are parents. That's sucky listening about children getting killed. It sucked. You like fucking cut them open, stuff mud in them and like leaves.
Yeah, all
Like
kinds
dickhead
of weird,
shit.
terrible shit.
Kid bodies.
Yeah, awful.
Chikatilo. Well,
Well, thanks for joining us. We hope you've had a good time.
I've got a question for you
Uh-huh.
before we go. How long? What are we doing here? How much time we got? We pushing it?
We're at an hour and 4 minutes.
Okay. Dinner in Hell trivia. Of the collage images that we use for the episodes, like on Facebook,
Yes.
we post those. There's like a couple different images. How many can you think of that have an edible in the image? Come on. Is this too hard?
Yeah, I have
There's
no
a
idea.
lot.
I'm gonna guess 6.
Can you name any?
No.
Milk and honey? Honey. There's
Dude,
honey.
I'm never gonna remember shit like this.
Okay. My bad. What about the Mackinac one had the rice?
Yeah, it had rice.
Remember? And the Pythagoras one had soybeans.
Soybeans.
And Dancing Plague one had the
Bread.
ergot on the rye.
Yeah, I remember bread. That's the only thing I could think of was bread. But for whatever reason, I thought it was like a communion wafer.
No, there was no picture of bread on Dancing Plague. It was a painting.
Was there bread on anything?
I don't think so.
I have no idea what's going on.
Dinner in Hell Band. This is crazy.
So fucking good.
Freaking stellar as always.
Magnificent.
Stellar.
Magnanimous.
What were they when we first opened the show? We said together.
Striking.
Striking, yeah. Whew, striking band. Striking episode. Hell yeah.
I had a great time. We hope you enjoyed it as well.
We want to thank freaking South Africa for actually listening last week. That
What's
was
up?
cool.
South Africa checking in.
And thanks for all the freaking mentions from Maria, Spartanburg, South Carolina on Twitter. She's constantly passing us on. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to the band.
Thank you for listening. And if you want to get at us, we're on Twitter at Dinner in Hell Pod, dinnerinhell.com. You can email us at dinnerinhellpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, you name it. Get at us. Please don't forget to rate and subscribe on iTunes. Good night.